Just give me a couple of minutes before I just start it. Okay. So, all right. So, hello everybody. It's good to be back in Deutschland, though not in real, but in the virtual world. And I think the reason for doing seminars again and again with our foreign friends, overseas friends, we should thank Facebook for that. Because for the past 1 year, it's been popping up, and Google, of course, it's been popping up memories. Last year, you did this seminar. 4 years back, you did these seminars. So, it keeps reminding us of all the past events that we did. And yes, we come now to Germany online. The last 2 years have been very interesting for all of us. Yeah. The whole world has been gripped with this whole COVID virus, and it has changed everything. It's unbelievable the way we are living, all of us. It has impacted us big way. And India is always ground for everything raised to 10. All situations, conditions, problem, solution, everything is raised to 10 because of the sheer volume and the population that we have. COVID gave us a lot of challenges. So many citizens, people, the medical fraternity, everybody was stressed out. It helped us introduce homeopathy in a large way and help many people. Since the last 2 years, Bhavisha and I have helped directly, indirectly, nearly 35 to 40,000 people, yeah, all across our country and different parts of the world. And we feel blessed that we got the opportunity to help so many. And in all of this, the remedy selection, the way we prescribed remedies and the ones that we selected, the MAP approach that Bhavisha and I have introduced to everybody has played a big role in selecting remedies, differentiating remedies, and finding what kind of remedies have come up for this particular crisis. And that further enhance our confidence, and people around who use the approach, their confidence about how well the MAP approach works in acutes as well as chronics and how it can give good results. So we bring that to you guys. And in this last 2 years, despite everything that's been going on in our lives and everybody's lives, we managed to complete our book. I remember last year, Bhavisha, from last May until January, February this year, every day was spending at least 3 to 4, 5, 6 hours every day, other than the clinic work, the seminar, and everything else, to get the bird book together. Yeah, it's been a big, it's been a challenging task to bring such a huge work together, to make it crisp, to make it handy, to make it more easy and user friendly. It was unbelievable the kind of effort that she put in to bring the bird book out this March. And I'm sure some of you have already had your copies, and the board book has already reached Vika after flying across the globe. Usually we would have got it, but yeah, these are unusual situations, so unusual solutions. So yes, the map has grown, the map has worked, and it has helped so many people, and that's what we are here to share with you. In the next 1.5 days, we'll share with you the way the map has evolved and where we are today. Some of you have been with us in this journey for a while now. Some of you are new. So we will introduce the concept to the new ones and reinforce the ideas to the ones who know it well. And then, of course, we'll play around with the map and use them in understanding bird cases. That we will do more today as well as tomorrow. You're free to ask your questions, share your views. Yeah, the event is meant for that. You can type your questions in the chat box, or you can ask Andra or Joanna to translate it. And of course, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Yeah. We have one reason. That was me, I guess.
Okay. Good. I hope you can all hear me well. Yeah. So, Sachandra, of course, told you what we're going to do in the next 1.5 days. But before we go into what is the map system and we go into bird personalities based on the map system, as well as we'll try to show you how we use the same system for COVID times and how successful it's been. Just before we go into that, I want to tell you a little bit of how and why did this system even come into place for us. Yeah. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. I'm going to make it very brief. And the reason I like to share the journey, or the reason I like to give you the idea of this whole, the evolution or even the birth of this system of map, is because when I simply give you information, it's not going to register. You don't know where I come from. You don't know where the information comes from. But when I give you the real lifetime experience of what happened and how we stumbled onto this concept, it is something that resonates with our hearts, resonates with the human mind, and it's something which will actually stimulate you to start not just using the map, but start finding your own new connections, new remedies. Yeah. And this is what we always do, Sachandra and I. We do not want to just share our information like teachers or presenters. Yeah. We do not want to bring out things here which look fabulous, but we want to create thinkers. Yeah. We want to stimulate your own thinking process so that you look at these 2 days and also your future cases and say, this is easy, I can do it. Yeah. Rather than thinking this is so difficult, she could do it, I can. That's not what we want to do. We want to make you, we want to empower you so that you can also do it. And you will see how easy it was for us. Yeah. And you will see how easy it will be for you as well. So we come to the what is this map and why we call it the map, and all of this. And the journey actually starts long back. Yeah. We started our work about, I would say, 25 years ago. We started homeopathy, 25 years ago, practicing and teaching and all of this. And it was only, and we were having very good results. Yes, we were having extremely good results with all kinds of kingdoms and all kinds of patients, but mainly with the mineral kingdom. Yeah, we were, I would say, experts on the mineral kingdom. And have you ever wondered, that there is some homeopath who only prescribes a mineral remedy and gets fantastic results? There are some homeopaths who only prescribe gem remedies, gemstones, and get great results. There are some homeopaths who prescribe only plants and get fantastic results. And then there are some homeopaths like us who prescribe a plethora of animal remedies along with plants and minerals, but much more abundance of animal remedies. And day in and day out, we also get good results. How is this possible? How is it that only one kind of people are drawn to one kind of a homeopath? Yeah. This is a question, bear in mind. Yeah. While I tell you my journey, you will get the answer to this question as well, and to many more. So here we are, having great results with our cases. And then, so this is 1999, 2000, 2001, to blah, blah, blah. And by 2008, we started to, or 2006 or 7, I would say, because by 2008, we were already teaching the system. So by 2006, we had a kind of, I would say, you can call it on the positive side, a discovery. On the positive side, you can call it a revelation. But on the negative side, you can call it a breakdown. We had a breakdown in our practice, meaning we had cases that had done very well earlier on mineral remedies, which now needed the same patients. They had done well, gone away. We had not seen them for 3 or 4 years, 6 years, some of them. And now they had come back with a new complaint. Their situations in life had changed. Some had gotten married, some had gotten babies, some had lost a parent, some had gotten a new job, whatever. The situations had changed, but also that they were speaking a slightly new language. It could be also that we were now more aware of this language, which we were not 6 years ago. So you see, there are two people in this case taking. There is the patient who appears to have changed, but there is also a homeopath who now has 6 years experience. Yeah. So, but the bottom line of the story is that we now started to give them a new remedy, and we started to give them either a mineral, an animal remedy for an earlier mineral or a plant case. And to begin with, this was a breakdown for us because we thought we have failed. How could we give one kingdom and then 6 years later change the kingdom? But on the other hand, we started re-examining the successes of these new remedies, of these new animal remedies. Yeah, like an old case of magnesium mure got like caninum. An old case of Calcarea sulf or Calcarea fos got like selenium. An old case of McCarb got like ovis. An old case of argentum got like equinum. An old case of aurum got the tiger, Panthera tigris. So we started examining what was successful in these new cases, what was different in the language of these patients, and as compared to 6 years ago, because something had worked beautifully 6 years ago as well. Now we saw two very important things in the follow-up. With the new animal remedies that we had given, the patients were exceedingly better, and a huge improvement in their deep inner conflicts came about. A huge change in their deep states, much more than the earlier mineral or plant remedies. And the second thing, very, very striking, was that these patients were not saying something completely new. Yes, they had come across new situations in their lives, but there was still something common that they were speaking 6 years ago and that they were speaking now. And this was what got our attention. So initially, when we were thinking that the symptoms, the rubrics, the miasms, or the kingdoms even were very, very deep, yeah. Now in 2006 or 7, we started to realize that there was something deeper than all of this. Can you share screen? Yep, go. There was something deeper than all of this that we had tapped correctly the first time when they came and took a mineral remedy from us, as well as the second time when they took the animal remedy from us. There was something much deeper than the kingdoms even. And that level, initially, we could not name. We just knew that there is a deep level and that this is more deeper, and that this level belongs to the mineral kingdom as well as to the plant kingdom as well as to the animal kingdom. Next. And it was only a couple of years later that we started giving this level or this deep energy pattern the name, the level of human or universal development. Now, if you just examine the cases that I told you, I said a magnesium mure needed laccaninum. Now, a magnesium mure is level, when you look at the periodic table, and I'm sure all of you know the periodic table very well. Yeah, if you can just show the periodic table. Yeah, much better. So, magnesium, you can see, is in the third row of the periodic table, magnesium mu. And I'm saying what the patient needed the next time was laccaninum.
It sounds strange. Maybe everybody can mute their mics. Vika, can you mute your mic? Everybody has muted it. Do you still hear?
Can you hear? You still find it funny
Andra?
or strange, Andra? Is this better? Okay, so maybe the mic was too far away. Okay. So we come back. Yeah. Now you look at magnesium carb. So I said magnesium mure. Yeah, got a laccaninum. Magnesium carb got a lac ovis. Lac ovis is from the milk of the sheep. Yeah. Then I said argentum, which is here, which is the fifth row of the periodic table. So the first two I mentioned were the third row of the periodic table. Argentum is more the fifth row of the periodic table, and that patient needed laciquinone. And then I said aurum, yeah, and that patient needed blood, yeah, Panthera tigris. The remedy was made from the blood. So here you see level 6, or let me at the moment call it as the row 6 of the periodic table. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there has to be some connection between aurum and tiger. There has to be some connection between argentum and laciquinum. And there has to be some connection between laccaninum and magnesium muriatic. Yeah. This is that deeper level. And initially it looked like the rows of the periodic table. Now, I would tell you at this time, I had another very interesting case. It was all around this time. And it was a case where I gave a plant remedy. And the patient did very, very well on the remedy. It's also there on our website. It's a free case that we have uploaded. It's from the remedy Mentha piperata. That's your peppermint or mint. The patient did very well on this remedy. But as I was explaining this case, and he had plant-like sensations, yeah, I was following, or we were part of the sensation method at that time, and we were contributing to the sensation method as well at that time. And the patient had all symptoms and all sensations of the mint family with excitement and, this absolutely industrious mania for work. The patient also had the rubrics of Mentha piperata. I still remember industrious mania for work dispatches it quickly. There's only a single remedy, Mentha piperata. So the patient had the rubrics, the patient had the sensations. Very clearly, he was a plant remedy case, extremely sensitive, extremely communicative, and affected by every little thing, highs and lows, which is typical to the mint family. But even as I was explaining this case, and though this case did very well on the remedy, I could hear in the case there he was a very, very successful leader, and he had made an entire company by himself. So I could see the periodic table 6, and I could see aurum in this person. or I would say level 6,
Level 6.
or periodic table 6, row 6. And at the same time, he had themes very animated. And he had so many features of the animal kingdom. He was absolutely charming. He was loquacious. In the company that he had created, there was a lot of politics, which he had handled very well. His wife was a soulmate. And so, even while I was explaining the case and showing it as a success, somewhere behind in my mind, there was a small voice that kept saying, liar, this looks also like a mineral. How will you explain it? This looks also like a plant. Yes, it is a plant remedy you've given, but also like an animal. How will you explain it? You are not sure which of the three kingdoms in this case. And you have given a plant. My voice was telling myself this. But the answer to this was that there must be something common between the mint and the aurum and the eagle, which was the remedy I eventually gave him. Which I thought the remedy I eventually gave him was mint, but eagle, which kept coming to me as a remedy in my mind. There must be something common between the three. Just like there is something common between argentum and laciquinum, something common between tiger and aurum, blah, 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 like I told you. And this was our discovery around 2006 to 7, that what is common or what is deeper to the kingdoms is an energy pattern of the levels. And to begin with, these levels were called rows of the periodic table. Yeah. And slowly then I changed it to, Swachandra and I, we changed it to levels of universal development and not just rows of the periodic table. Because what we realized is that these rows, these 7 rows of the periodic table and 18 columns of the periodic table that we know very well are part of the mineral kingdom, actually they form a universal grid for plants, animals, nosodes, imponderables. They form a universal grid for everything. And so consciously or unconsciously, whether it was 1999 or 2006 or even today, what we are getting right is this level of universal development, also called as level of human development, because we humans also follow these 7 levels. Now, what is very interesting is this was also the time, and the other reason for me to think of this as a universal thing is because of the fact that I was helping my father write his book on yoga. And we started discussing the 7 chakras. And I started explaining to him how the 7 chakras were connected to the 7 endocrine glands. So this was the time when everything kind of came together for us. That there are 7 levels, whether you look at the 7 important endocrine glands, there are 7 levels, whether you look at the plants, there are 7 levels, whether you look at the Chinese wisdom, then the 7 cycles, the 7 important years, yeah, and the 7 rows of the periodic table. And so that is the reason why this grid, from being the grid of the periodic table for me and for Suchindra, became the universal grid of development. And when you look at the botanical classification and evolution, the zoological classical and evolution of the animals, you can use all of this information, and that is what we have done, to put the plants and animals also on this periodic table, or what I now call as the universal grid.
And what is very important is this, the way we have laid out the plants, the animals, and other elements on the grid, they have been done with our clinical experience. So it's not just a concept, But it is much more deeper than that, because we have had our patients who talked about it. We have had our patients who have made these connections. So as you plant things practically, you'll see things might have their own beautiful different shade, because that is the reality. So that is the unique part of this grid, is that this grid has been made using patient experiences and multiple patients who have spoken and connected these dots. And that makes it more practically viable for Bhavisha and me. And both of us being clinicians, that is very vital to make things practically useful and what we see in clinical practice.
As well as, can you just put this one now? As well as, I think, yes, it's practically viable, but even more than that, it's the truth.
Absolutely.
Because it is something that we haven't discovered we haven't created as a concept. See, a concept is human or man-made. But this was not a concept. This was a discovery that happened in our clinic through our clinical practice. The first thing was not the map. The first thing was not the levels of universal development. The first thing was not the grid. The first thing was patients started needing different remedies. Patients started getting better on their new remedies. Patients were already better on the first one, and now they needed a new one. And when the new remedy worked, we started investigating how come one patient can have two similar moves. What went wrong the first time? What went right the second time? In fact, nothing went wrong the first time. The first time was also successful. So what was common between the first success and the second? And this investigation led us to the discovery of, first, the rows of the periodic table being common to all the kingdoms, and then to realize that actually this is a universal grid. And so today we truly, when you use our map system, but not only when you use it, Vachachandra and I believe very strongly, because of our practice and because of our clinical experience, with this system, which is from 2008 until 21, it's already 13 years. What we believe and see day in and day out in our clinic is that for every point on this grid, let's say right now I have taken the fourth row, that is level 4. I'm going to say level from now on. It's an introduction, so I'm saying fourth row. But from this point on, it will only be levels. And remember, the levels correspond to the rows. So it's not something new. You already know your rows, and therefore you already know your levels. So for the level 4 and column 10 here, you have Niculum as the mineral. For the same point, you have Bison as the animal. And for the same point, you have Fagus sylvatica as the plant. You understand? So the human has 3 different counterparts. The human energy pattern, or the human vital force, has 3 different counterparts in nature that can heal him or her. And so the mineral, animal, and plant are also counterparts of each other. It's basically one pool of energy patterns. And this pool of energy pattern is the pool from where everyone in the universe draws their energies. So the human takes his or her energy from this pool. The plant takes his or her energy, the mineral, and so does the animal. And when we humans have a disease, the homeopath, so what is happening in the system? When the patient has a disease or a problem or a complaint, as a homeopath, I try to understand, or we try to understand, where is the person on this map? What is his level of development? We plot him. And then he has 3 different counterparts. So for that same energy pattern that the human is vibrating with, we can heal him with a mineral energy pattern. We can heal him with the plant energy pattern. We can heal him with the animal energy pattern. And there can be different times in our life when we may need these three different counterparts. Okay. Another very, very important thing that I did not want to miss, but it seems like it has already slipped out of my mind. The animal, yeah, it's coming now. The animal covers a much more broader, or I would say it covers everything. It encompasses the conflict, the sensitivity of the plant, as well as the target-oriented mineral aspect. Okay. And therefore, I have now realized over and over our cases that the animal covers a much, much more wider
Deeper.
or deeper and wholesome experience of the human, because the human is also an animal. Yeah. That does not go to say that we don't prescribe minerals or plants. And I will at some point in these 1.5 days tell you or share with you some experiences of where and when do we prescribe the mineral and the plant, even when we know the animal for that case. Now go back to the doubt that I had raised. How does a different homeopath or every homeopath who is good with that kingdom prescribe only remedies from that kingdom? How does one homeopath get all plant cases, one get all mineral cases, one get all animal cases, one get gemstones? The reason is whichever kingdom we are good at or whichever kingdom we have explored, yeah, we including rubrics, even rubrics, yeah, whichever kingdom we have, or if we have explored rubrics, whatever. The point is, subconsciously, unknowingly, that homeopath has picked the right level.
And it has worked.
And it has worked. And that is what happened to us also. And that is what happens to you as well. Yeah. And then therefore it answers a question, very important one, of different homeopaths having different successes, having the same success, but with different kingdoms or groups of remedies.